Hey, hello everyone. Welcome. Bonjour à toutes et à tous. It's lovely to have seen so many familiar names on our RSVP list, as well as some new ones. So I want to say welcome and hello to everyone. J'ai le plaisir d'être avec vous aujourd'hui pour vous faire part de quelques mises à jour. Je laisserai un peu de temps à la fin pour répondre à vos questions. N'hésitez pas à les ajouter au chat, au fur et à mesure. And please feel free when you put things in the chat to use your preference, either French or English. We've got Andrea today who will help facilitate that. So we have a jam-packed agenda, lots of updates, staff, strategic plan, great program results, some exciting news from our Indigenous Northern Services team. We're going to talk about our Reconciliation Action Plan, and of course, volunteer recruitment. And like I mentioned, time at the end for Q&A. And those of you who know me know I love Q&A. So let the questions flow. Before we begin, I would like to do a land acknowledgement. In the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect, we recognize our work takes place on many traditional Indigenous territories across Canada and internationally, in countries where we support economic development. I acknowledge I'm meeting with you from the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. It is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and I am grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. Nous commencerons aujourd'hui par rendre hommage à notre cher ami et collègue Apollinaire Ihaza. Beaucoup d'entre vous savons qu'il est décédé au début du mois de mai. Ce fut un choc énorme. We received an outpouring of messages of condolence from around the globe, literally around the globe, from embassies, from ministries, clients, partners, the Senate of Canada, and so many talked about his humor, which, if you knew him, you would know is legendary. They also talked about his humanity. We collected these messages and pictures and put them in a book for his family, for his sons and grandchildren, so they'll be able to remember the impact he had on the lives of others. So thank you to all who celebrated and who participated in the celebration of life and sent condolence messages and are thinking of Apollinaire. Let's remember and honor Apollinaire by continuing his good work in Africa. Puis sa peau continuer à vivre dans nos cœurs, nos rires et dans les actions que nous entreprenons pour dans le monde entier. So now we're going to talk about our new strategic plan. So we launched this it started in January of this year. It's a 5-year plan. It's an exciting plan. And it's rooted in the vision and mission that you know so well. So that has not changed. Our vision to build stronger economies for better lives. And our mission to be leaders in economic development and to strengthen local competencies, to increase the capacity of organizations, individuals, businesses, in emerging countries and Indigenous communities for sustainable economic independence. So that core remains the same and a priority, a guiding goal. So our strategic plan includes our 2 foundational elements as well as 2 commitments. Our foundational elements are ones particularly you advisors on the call would know so well. Our one area of work, which is institutional strengthening and good governance, and the other area, private sector development or micro small enterprise development. So the importance of good governance, right? It's important to establish a transparent, predictable, accountable environment, whether it's for policy, regulatory, private sector development, tax, fiscal management, et cetera, et cetera. That positive, enabling environment. And that is sort of balanced with our other area of focus, which is the engine of economic growth, micro, small, and medium-sized enterprise development. The private sector, it's important to create the conditions for growth. We want a dynamic, a strong private sector, and SMEs provide the majority of this growth and employment in any economy. So those are our two foundational elements, and they're rooted in a long-standing commitment to localization and reconciliation. So let's talk about localization for a moment. For over 55 years, we've been a needs-driven development organization. And we're talking about, for us, it means empowering local partners to address the specific needs and contexts that they identify for themselves, right? So it's a partnership, a collaboration. We want to build and institutionalize local decision-making and delivery capacity. So in our strategic plan, we also talked about strengthening localization. And we're going to talk about this a little bit more. But part of that means more investing in our in-country teams. Those of you who know our models well know that we have local staff around the world that are critical to the delivery of our programs, and we want to empower them more and broaden their role as strategic development partners. So our other commitment is to reconciliation. Though many of you may remember, we published a reconciliation action plan about a year ago. And this is from an organization that has been working with Indigenous communities from coast to coast to coast on economic reconciliation for over 55 years. So it was a sort of fascinating, really rewarding process, and to put this plan together. And we came up with 3 pillars. And these three pillars of reconciliation are in our strategic plan. So the pillars are awareness, inclusion, and economic independence. And I'll just flesh them out a little bit more. So when we're talking about awareness, we're talking about being respectful of Indigenous peoples, their histories and cultures, that we're aware of the history of colonial policies designed to assimilate Indigenous peoples. And we will work actively to remove their lasting legacy. Our pillar of inclusion recognizes that Indigenous people are self-determining people with unique culture and distinct rights. And we're committed to working in collaboration in the design and delivery of our programs. So we want to ensure that our programs respond to the distinct needs of our Indigenous clients and partners. And economic independence. So we recognize that Indigenous peoples determine their own needs and priorities concerning economic development. And we will work closely with them to support their economic development goals. So we've talked about our 2 sort of foundational program approaches of institutional strengthening and good governance, and SME development, private sector development, rooted in a commitment to localization and reconciliation. And now we're going to move to how does this fit in the broader context in international development? So how do we connect to the United Nations global goals, the sustainable development goals? So, we did a review and selected the ones we think we contribute the most to. And you can see the reduction of poverty and hunger, gender equality, decent work and economic growth, reduced inequality, climate action, life on land, and partnerships for the goal. So it's important to recognize, these are the ones that we contribute directly to. Our work also contributes to the ecosystem or the enabling environment for achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. So this leads me into talking about our new strategic pillars of our new strategic plan. And there are 4 pillars: deepen localization, grow programs, diversify funders, and expand perceptions and engagement. So I'll touch on localization to begin with. Our program fundamentals are good, right? Like I mentioned, we've always been a needs-based organization working in partnership with our local clients and partners. Our local staff are the critical part of how we do this. But we want to make sure that we're doing as much as possible. So again, increasing local leadership and decision making. The other thing I wanted to share with you today is that, there's a growing trend, and I think there's a new role. I don't know if it's actually a new role or it's a new context in which we can play our role. Maybe that's more accurate. And that is, there's a growing trend with funders to directly support beneficiary organizations. So direct funds transfer instead of going through a third party like Catalyste Plus, and then they are responsible for delivering on the programs and reporting back and managing the whole thing, which is great. We think that there are times when the recipient organization, maybe there's some gaps in the skills that they have that they need to successfully deliver on their commitments. So whether it's managing the finances, reporting, monitoring and evaluation, program delivery, HR, that we're working more and more meeting those organizations where they are at, helping them build the capacity so they successfully deliver on what they've committed to with our funders. So this is a really exciting role to play. Grow our programs is the second pillar, and this one's easy. Supply and demand. So the demand for our programs far exceeds the supply, our ability to deliver based on our current level of programming. So we're always looking for more program funding so that we can better meet the demands of our partners and clients. And I should emphasize that all of these 4 pillars are designed to support our goal of increased contribution to economic growth and its related social changes. Okay, so that's the goal with these pillars. Pillar 3, diversify funders, very similar to the growth goal, being better able to meet the demand out there in the world for economic development. But the additional element here I call risk. So in a portfolio, we have a portfolio of programs. The more diversification you have, the lower your risk. I think it's very clear at the best of times, the environment in which international development operates can be unpredictable, and recent history has only emphasized that. So for a long time, we've been building relationships with diverse funders in order to help increase the diversification of our portfolio. We want to make sure we are reliable partners to our clients on the ground, and we're there when they need us. And the last pillar is expand perceptions and engagement. So there's sort of 2 pieces to this. The engagement part, we're a very people-oriented organization. Our roster, our clients and partners on the ground, our funders, our advisors. So it's important that we have high levels of engagement there. The second part of it is around expanding perceptions. And this really talks about, I guess how I describe it, often how I think about it is, I'd love it if every single one of our clients, partners, funders, potential funders knew about the full range of services that we could offer. Sometimes they only know the little niche where they have an intersection with Catalyst Plus and don't know, again, the whole suite of services. So that's focused there. And part of that is better articulating the impact of what we do. So we think there's more opportunity out there if we can have a better general understanding in the marketplace of all the roles we can play literally as a catalyst for development. So the risk is being pigeonholed, and I don't love that. And we all know, right? We all know that our advisors, our roster is our biggest asset. Our ultimate goal is to affect development outcomes in a positive way. So I like to think of us as an expert deployment mechanism. I think that's a clear way to describe what we do to the market. So those are our 4 strategic pillars. And now I'm going to turn to program results. So this time of year, and I know there's some staff on the call, so I hope you've had a little bit of rest since reporting period. But sort of late spring, we report on all of our programs, and it's extensive. Yeah, sorry about that. And I would love to be able to go in depth into all of our programs, but there's too many. I'm going to just touch on some highlights, leaving you hopefully wanting more and sending you to our website or talk to the people you know in the organization to find out more. So the first program I'm going to start with is our program in Canada, funded by Indigenous Services Canada. It's a lands and economic development service program. And you can see we worked with many communities across Canada, a lot of collaboration, a lot of completed or ongoing assignments. So we're really proud of this program. And what I find very interesting, so we have a strategic plan specifically for our work in Indigenous and Northern services, and all the assignments we did in this program contributed to our 4 strategic objectives. So those 4 objectives are strategic partnerships, First Nations, Métis, and Inuit governance and capacity building. The third one is major resource projects, and the 4th, procurement and business development. The 2 main sectors are cross-cutting. Those 4 strategic objectives were governance, economic development, microfinance, and finance. So some of the key areas that we worked in. So clients reported back increased confidence in areas such as strategic planning, human resources management, financial management, governance, and business development, among others. So here's another slice helping you get more familiar with this program, whether it's an increase in technical knowledge, productivity, improved organizational structures, or succession planning. But I'd like to bring it alive with a couple of stories, if I can't help myself, a few stories just to help bring this work alive. So one I want to tell you about is a partnership of 3 companies owned by a First Nation in Ontario. And we worked with them on budgeting and using new accounting software. And through this, participants acquired the necessary skills and confidence to prepare an accurate budget that met the needs of the company, but they also increased their ability to use their resources wisely and remain financially stable and plan for future growth. All of this while contributing to the nation's economic development. So I've got a quote from a participant who says, I'm extremely happy with the information and tools that the Catalyst Plus advisor provided me. It turned out to be a great collaboration. I would like to sincerely thank him for the additional mile taken to assist us. The training was excellent and we received more than expected. So what a great quote. And, this is a consistent theme. We hear back from our clients about our advisors going the extra mile. And it just being a really positive experience. So another example I want to tell you about is a First Nation in BC. And it was a tourism association. Sorry, it's a tourism association. And we worked with them to complete their grant application to the Alberta Aboriginal Business Investment Fund. Okay. So they were successful in this proposal and ended up securing $660,000 to purchase necessary equipment for business expansion. So this is a tourism association. What a great result. And last one I'll just point out here, just to give you a bit of a taste. First Nation in British Columbia, we worked with them and they did an application to the BC Wood Smoke Community Reduction Program. Okay, they wanted to replace old and inefficient wood stoves. So they were successful in this application. So they're going to purchase new, cleaner, more sustainable heating solutions. And so this is expected to help the nation reduce smoke levels in the community, ultimately improving air quality and health outcomes for residents. So just a sample of the great work our advisors have done this year on this program. And we have lots of other programs in Canada. So here is just a high-level snapshot. Great programs, lots focused on mentorship and tourism, and we have a great program that focuses on remediation in Northwest Territories. All of these programs achieve their targets and perform super strongly. And like I said, I wish I had time to go through each of these in more detail. Nous nous réjouissons de poursuivre notre collaboration avec nos partenaires et nos bailleurs de fonds au Canada. So we are looking forward to the future and more successful collaboration. Now I'm going to talk about a regional program. So this is our program in the Caribbean called the Canada CARICOM Expert Deployment Mechanism. Yes, you heard expert deployment mechanism. And this is where it comes from, and I just love it. So the last year, we supported 38 government departments. So this program is quite a governance and institutional strengthening focused. One thing I want to point out is 53 out of the 67 assignments were hybrid. So something positive that came out of having to switch to virtual assignments during COVID is we realized that we could squeeze more impact out of some of our assignments if there was a virtual as well as in-person component. And CCEDM is a great example of a program that's able to do this and do it really well. So here's a few more stats about the cumulative impact of the Catalyste Plus program. What I really want to emphasize is how many government organizations reported innovation in policies, regulations, norms and practices. This includes innovations that advance economic growth, are environmentally sensitive, and respond to the needs of women and other vulnerable groups. So there was a real improvement in their ability to develop and enhance goods and services, as well as ensuring these goods and services are efficient, equitable, and inclusive. So what? Well, I'll tell you, so what? What does this mean? This means over 700,000 individuals now have improved access to equitable policies and public goods, while almost 20,000 are benefiting from environmentally sensitive policies, services, and public goods. How great is that? Well over 90% of our partners reported a high or moderate impact resulting from these new or enhanced public goods, services, and policies. So well done, CCDM. Just a great innovative program. Now I'm going to turn to our AWE program. So this is our biggest program, 21 country program. I think last year we worked through almost 600 partnerships, and the focus is to strengthen business capacity and community organizations, governments, basically locally driven economic development. It really is our flagship program. Look at the number of almost 400 assignments this year. Our advisors work hard, and I thank each and every one of them for all of that fabulous work across all of our programs. What I want to point out here is the majority, like over 75% of activities were conducted within our 4 strategic sectors. So those sectors are agribusiness, tourism and hospitality, nutrition and health, and agroforestry. So I find that very interesting. The remaining about 20% addresses cross-cutting thematic areas such as gender equality, women's economic empowerment, environmental sustainability, and innovation. So I do want to bring these numbers alive, and I hope there's some advisors out here who hear me talking about them. I want to tell you about an assignment we did in Togo, where we introduced innovative agroecological techniques. So these efforts led to a 30% increase in crop yields, 30% rise in income from product sales due to better harvest quality and quantity. The cooperative organized training sessions for local youth and women from the surrounding villages. And these participants have already begun applying techniques such as replacing chemical pesticides with compost, manure, and other organic inputs to regenerate the soil. They're also adopting crop rotation and agroforestry best practices to better adapt to climate variability. I love that. Now let's move to a trading company in Ethiopia. Actually, it's an apiculture company that is now a trading company in Ethiopia. They wanted to work with us to enhance their honey production processing capabilities. So we worked with them, introduced innovations. This led to a 50% increase in honey quality, almost 40% increase in beeswax processing capacity within the first year. Sales increased by 40%, and the company began producing its own beeswax for export. So there you go. We have the trade, dev, nexus, a place where we love to operate. They also introduced a women-produced honey label for international markets, recognizing and promoting women's contributions to the sector, which is still largely a male-dominated sector. So here's looking at our AWE program from a slightly different perspective. We often talk about women's economic empowerment, but we work with lots of other groups of vulnerable or marginalized people. You can see over 6,000 Indigenous people, almost 300 persons with disabilities, over 5,000 people working in rural and remote areas. Really quite lovely. So a couple more stories. I can't help myself. There's just too many good ones. So we worked in Bolivia with a finance institution, and we collaborated with them to create 2 educational games. Yes, games. The games were aimed at strengthening women's financial and business skills. So this financial institution had agencies of its own. So the games were used in 48 of its agencies, over 5,000 women beneficiaries. All right, enough with the numbers. So through this game, beneficiaries gained a clearer understanding of how the banking system functioned, including the risks, access to credit, as well as their role in upholding the solidarity and joint guarantee. So understanding help women actively contribute to the formation and stability of their communal bank groups, ultimately improving their access to credit. The second game focused on business costs. Okay, enabled women, most of which were single, of whom were single women, to develop both household and business budgets. So this practical knowledge really allowed participants to make more informed daily decisions, reduce debt, strengthen their financial and entrepreneurial skills. And last one, just a quick, Vietnam. Let's talk about Vietnam. Working with the Vietnam Assistance for the Handicapped, an international NGO that worked with us because they wanted to do a new strategic plan and transition into a social enterprise. So we helped them do that. Okay. Couple other notes about AWE. The first is our innovation fund. So this is a new thing with this program, and we are able to give out small grants. So this past year, I think we did 64 grants to different partners, and often these are things that we find barriers to progress in assignment. So maybe it's a small piece of equipment or a piece of software, often equipment. And this really helps to expand access and control over resources. It sort of multiplies the impact of the assignment. So we love our small grant fund. The second I want to talk about is public engagement. So we have actually two deliverables for Global Affairs Canada. It's our development outcomes, and the second one is engaging Canadians on international development issues. So I just want to give you a couple tidbits. Many of our volunteers, so last year, I think almost 350 advisors who went on assignment came back. When they came back, they engaged, whether it was in speaking engagements or in-house opportunities or events that sort of leverage their experience internationally and help spread the word about this great work in Canada. Think the stat I love the best, especially in this time, the world is changing so quickly. Over 70% of advisors reported a medium or high level of improvement in their understanding of international development issues. So I think when we talk about, Canada and being good corporate citizens, I think that's a great stat. So again, before I move on to some other updates, I just want to thank everyone, staff, advisors, whether you're located in Canada or in country, our funders. I want to thank everyone for coming together, working as a team, and doing such a great job last year. So now it is my absolute distinct pleasure to share some good news. We have a new Director of Indigenous and Northern Services. Her name is Jill Lunn. She is Ojibwe and Lower Cayuga. She's Six Nations. She joined us, it was in April, recently. So I want to tell you a little bit about Jill. So Jill has spent her career working for Indigenous people and serving her community. Some of her past roles were in friendship centers or healthcare. And her sister, so there's more. So their biological parents were residential school who adopted them as an artist. A mother, and she background about Jill. We're not humbled. This group of high-level professionals, but plus. She has developed a passion of helping the Indigenous peoples. Art, conversation. So with that, we welcome. We're going to talk about the next couple of slides. You will see the talent for yourself. So a year ago, so at this, a lot of good things happened internally, a lot of learning, a lot of collaboration between departments. Externally. Well, we did a reconciliation at Association of People literally so it was a resounding success. So let me give you a little bit of feedback from the organizers. Your session drew over 300. Over 95% of participants surveyed rated the session most beneficial. So it was a great session, and I'm get this done and who we neared the time where we were going to talk about our wrap. It put us in a mood of reflection, and we realized that we've learned many valuable lessons in our path to reconciliation, and we're on that path. It's a journey. So we thought about it. We thought about all our activity over the year, and we realized that maybe we need to slow down a little bit, and that the actions we take need to be taken with proper thought and heart. Okay, why? What is the bigger meaning here? So it opened us up, it was sort of fun, to questioning and self-exploration. So as an organization, as a whole, as well as individually. And we came up with questions that we wanted to figure out, like, why is reconciliation important to us, and what does it really mean? What part can we, Catalyste Plus, play as an economic development organization? How do we balance relational healing and economic reconciliation? And though reconciliation is unique to Canada, does it impact our international work? So we don't have the answers. We just have the questions at this point. But we're at a point where we can take these reflections and questions and experience and look forward, where we realize that we need to make our intentions more explicit. So we're going to revisit and clearly articulate the why behind our wrap. We want these adjustments to help ensure that our commitments are meaningful and well understood both internally and externally. Like I said, it's a process. We're also refining how we communicate our approach to Indigenous engagement internationally. Right? While reconciliation is specific to the Canadian context, our international work is guided by UNDRIP, the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. We are also at the early stages of creating an Indigenous Advisory Committee to help guide us along this path of reconciliation. So I'm very pleased about that. So the last thing I will say about reconciliation is, hey, get involved. So part of our commitment in our reconciliation action plan is to encourage Catalyste Plus community members to get involved. So here's a list of different things you can do, whether it's reviewing the Truth and Reconciliation Commission calls to action, joining the Catalyste Advisor community, stories, books, lots of stuff on our website, lots of other resources, reading the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. All of these things are positive actions you can take on the road to reconciliation. And so we encourage you to do that. And the last topic I want to talk about today, advisors. Where are we recruiting? So we have a robust roster. It's over 18 or 1900 advisors now on our roster, but you can see we've got some pretty heavy programs. And we're always looking to make sure that we have the right talent on the roster to meet our clients' needs. So sort of broken it up into two categories, ongoing needs and what we're seeing going forward. So in this slide, we're looking at ongoing high demand roles. So digital marketing. So there's some regional specificity in brackets, but these are pretty widespread as well. I think people had specific partners in mind, so we're looking for digital marketing. We want to help clients strengthen their online presence by assessing and guiding their web, mobile, and social media strategies. Okay, fundraising and resource mobilization, that came up a number of times in the stories that I told. So key to help our clients identifying funding opportunities and build fundraising skills. Information technology. Our clients ask us for strategic guidance on IT systems and planning and aligning their technology with their organizational goals. Web development. Lots of work to help clients create or enhance websites. So we are recruiting for these skill sets, high demand skill sets. Then as we look forward, what we're seeing is these sort of four areas that I wanted to highlight. So the first, cybersecurity advisors. More and more clients are asking us for help strengthening their digital security. Okay, assessing risks, developing protection strategies, building the capacity to manage their cyber threats effectively. Environment and sustainability advisors. So this has been on an increase for quite a while, helping our clients integrating sustainability practices into their operations, products, and decisions while promoting environmental responsibility and green innovation. Monitoring and evaluations. Again, one we see more and more. Our clients want support in measuring project and performance impact. And we've got so many people in Canada, so many people in the roster that have got those skills. That's another exciting area of growth. When I look forward, I feel confident that our programs in Spanish-speaking countries will grow. So we are looking, nous recherchons davantage de conseillers parlant l'espagnol. We need more advisors that speak Spanish. So whether you do, you've got friends, family, encourage them to have a look and see if they're interested. Je vais maintenant ouvrir la session pour les questions et les réponses. N'hésitez pas à utiliser le français ou l'anglais dans le chat. Thank you, everyone. I'm just going to stop sharing so I can see the other screen. Q&A. Open. All right. Okay. Sorry, just having a quick look here. Okay. What are some of the internal team strengthening areas that Catalyste Plus is moving forward on this year? Will advisors see any impact of this? Show lots of internal strengthening, whether it's bringing staff together for more in-depth planning and reviewing performance, tweaking what we need to do to drive better performance, whatever the metric is. So there's that, and I talked quite a bit about investment in our local teams. Then asking about more advisors. Yes, we've got lots of advisors, but we need more advisors. We are growing quickly, and the skill sets our clients and partners are looking for are also evolving. What are the primary recruitment channels Catalyste Plus uses for its programs? Social media is a big one. Also direct with professional associations. We also attend conferences and do lots of presentations to different organizations. I think I've got the main ones, but if I missed any, maybe Andrea or Anita can jump in. Then I've got regarding the fourth strategic pillar, do we want to expand the perception of what we can do with potential and current funders or within the geographic area? Both, Benoit. Excellent question. Both. We have two groups that we talk to, right? We've got the three groups need to come together to make what we do possible. There's us as an organization, there's our clients and partners in the field, so we want to expand their perceptions, want them to know what is possible, and also on the funder side. Okay. Okay. Okay, you talked about a session you did on reconciliation in a seminar that was really appreciated by the participants. Would it be possible to offer this session virtually to Catalyste Plus advisors? I think we'd all benefit. It's a great question. So, that's one of the areas that we have identified to strengthen this year is to increase and improve the options, the learning opportunities that we can share with our advisors on reconciliation. Okay, I'm just going down the list. I hope I'm not missing anybody. Could you please expand on the pillar to diversify? Yep. I see that we're currently funded by GAC and ISK. Those are our biggest and individual donors. Do you plan international foundations for global? Okay, so we are our two biggest funders are ISK and GAC, but we are also funded by territorial governments, by foundations from the private sector. So we do have, I think I said foundations. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but those are the main ones. Regional economic funders as well. Do you plan on it? We would like to expand in all of those areas. So we're looking at all of them. Yes, with US aid shrinking, it's not clear yet to me where the opportunities are. But we are looking very closely at the market, trying to figure out where those opportunities are. I think when you look at the ultimate goal of poverty reduction and peace and stability around the world, I think our model is still persuasive, and there's a value proposition there. And I'm hoping that foundations, we've had a couple in the States step up. Whether that will happen more broadly and whether we will qualify is another question. But we've got lots of irons in the fire. Lots of irons in the fire. Yeah. Okay. Okay. When will we have volunteer assignments on the website for our new program in Mongolia? I'm surprised they're not on there already. But I guess um, we've just submitted the project implementation plan to GAC. So we had to go through that step. And then the assignments will come. I think the assignments so far have been on preparing the PIP. So I think it's anytime, anytime. Then there's a question with client demand focus on digital marketing, IT, web development. Is Catalyst Plus actively recruiting for younger advisors? So the answer ends up being a yes. What we're looking for is the people with the level of skill and expertise that are required to meet our partner needs. In a lot of these sort of tech areas, that often means going to a bit of a younger cohort. Yeah, so we're all about the experience and the expertise, that level. It's not about age or number of years. How do you choose your countries of focus? It's a combination of priorities for the country itself. Do their priorities match our service offerings? Is the context stable enough so that it's safe for our volunteers to go there? Do we think we can make a difference? And is there a funder interested? Okay. Okay, I've got one in French. Okay, let me give it a shot. I might need help though. Andrea, je suis un nouveau conseiller volontaire et je voudrais rencontrer d'autres conseillers. Comment puis-je faire ça? So you want me to try? Well, you translate and then I'll answer.
No problem, Wendy. So I'm a new advisor, and I'm wondering how I could meet advisors and where I can meet them.
Great. It's a great question. I love that question. I think the best thing is to go. Do we not have a web page where advisors can go to for all the different ways they can get involved? What
Mhm.
is that web page called, Andrea? Is it just
Yeah, so it's a tab on our website. It's the events page on Catalyst Plus.
events? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Events page on Catalyst Plus. En français, s'il vous plaît? S'il te plaît?
Oui, merci. Il y a une page sur le site web des événements Catalyst Plus. Et là-bas, vous pouvez trouver tous les événements chez Catalyst Plus. Et encore, il y a les clubs de Catalyst Plus à travers le Canada, à Vancouver, Toronto, Montréal, Halifax et plus d'autres. Il y a aussi une newsletter mensuelle, Connexion Catalyst Plus. So just to add on to that, I mentioned that we do have Catalyst Plus clubs all across the country in multiple different cities. And we also have all of this information in our newsletter every single month with ways that all of our advisors can connect with each other.
Beautiful. Thank you, Andrea. Um, does do we have an annual report? Yes, of course we do, showing number of staff, financials, etc. Yes, so I believe it's public in September every year, and it's on our website. Yeah, our audited financials and annual report. See a question here. What is the future vision of Catalyst Plus? I know this is what the strategic plan talks about. I would like to hear it in your words. Oh, I like this. I like this question. Um, I think that um, our model of development has an important role to play in, um, in changing the lives of people around the world, right? So whether it's poverty reduction, whether it's peace and security, whether it's in Canada, economic reconciliation, I feel there's a role we can play. In Canada, I feel like we can be an ally to the process. In globally, I feel like we can be a trusted partner. We can't do everything, but what we can do is extremely important. So I would like to see us backed by enough in terms of funding that we really can deliver what our clients and partners need. The vision of the future, our in-country teams are such a huge part of what we do. I'd like to see those teams expand, take on more. And I'd like to have enough discretionary budget to bring our global team together every 2-3 years. I know that's not vision, but I think it's really important from a learning and from a corporate culture perspective. Whenever we've done it, whether regionally or globally, the value created has been enormous. So thank you for that. There's another question here. It says, do we have a policy that advisors who have reached the age of 80 are no longer qualified to be volunteers? So I might have to get back to you on that because it's changed over time depending on what our insurance restrictions were. I knew at some point, and I think it's still there. But again, Andrew, Anita, if you know, otherwise, maybe we can post something in a newsletter to clarify. I don't believe our insurance covers our advisors once they turn 80. And so that prohibits us from sending people on assignment after that. Okay, I guess we have just a couple more minutes. Oh, I'm going to read. Oh, there's a couple of great ones here. Oh boy. Okay, there's so many great ones. Okay, one here says, kind of political apologies up front. No problem. I love all questions. How stable is our funding? We see what has happened to USAID and we see our government increasing funding for our military. Yeah, in our space, on the best years, funding is always risky because there's always risk that government will decide to put the funding earmarked for our work into something completely different. So I feel like we are always governing and leading the organization with that in the back of our mind. I don't think what's going to happen in the States is going to happen to us. But as we don't have a budget and we don't have, we've got such a new government, I don't know. What I will say on the plus column is we've got a lot of multi-year contracts that help with the sort of stability and predictability of what we're able to do. And the last thing I will mention there is, our focus on economic development is persuasive, whether you're conservative or liberal, right? And so I'm hoping our value proposition carries us strongly through this next mandate. How are we doing for time? We're getting really close. There's such a good one here. I love the story about the game. To build financial acumen is a way for tools developed for one assignment and can be shared with others. That is $1 million question. It's the how. So we have certainly identified that and are trying to figure out the how. Everything that's produced on an assignment is the property of our clients and partners. So that's one thing. And then there's we do so many things. It's a difficult one, but it is certainly on our radar. And maybe, let me just, I want one more. Yes, I'm just going to end on this because I love this one. It's not a question so much as a compliment. Today, I received a report from Catalyste Plus staff about the progress of a client I helped in Kenya a year or more ago. I've had a couple of feedback reports like this, and I, in all caps, very much appreciate that kind of feedback. I wish there was more. Great. Thank you so much for that comment. I believe we have improved in this front. We know how important it is, not just to do our formal monitoring and evaluations, but give feedback to our advisors. And we're constantly trying to to improve. All right, so at the risk of going over time, I think I'll end the Q&A there. Of course, feel free to get in touch if there's follow-up questions. I really appreciate the time from everyone today talking about my favorite thing, Catalyst Plus. And I can't say enough, particularly to our advisors and our global staff, for all that you do to make Catalyst Plus possible, and for all that you do to help build stronger economies for better lives. So thank you, merci, and we'll see you next time.